Now, Chris, as you look back on your journey, you definitely had some high notes and some low notes. So what lessons have you learned?
I learned that love transcends language. Love has the ability to bypass the mind where words are formed into sentences, and it can pierce right into the heart where emotions and feelings come from. I needed an interpreter to translate my words, but love needs no interpretation. Those brothers and sisters could see how much I loved them as I struggled to learn their language. And I saw how much they loved me as they patiently worked with me and helped me. And I could see Jehovah's love for them. It was coming off the pages of the Bible as we read them scriptures. And I could see their love for Jehovah as they implicitly followed the direction from the governing body. They viewed it as coming from Jehovah, and they followed it even if it came to them at a cost. And I also learned that you can see Jehovah in creation, and you can hear his voice in your Bible reading, and you can feel his love coming from the brothers and sisters even over Zoom. And this assignment taught me that even if you feel lonely, or if you're isolated because of a pandemic, or you're in prison bonds, you're never alone.
Chris, thank you for sharing your illuminating story with us. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Chris, for your illuminating story. Actually, it has been quite illuminating. I think that viewers of my channel who need to learn more about the Jehovah's Witness organization and how it works will find quite a few interesting clues in what Christopher was just saying. He talks there about love and how love has the ability to bypass the mind.
Love has the ability to bypass the mind where words are formed into sentences, and it can pierce right into the heart where emotions and feelings come from.
Well, this is more or less what I've been saying in rebuttal after rebuttal, particularly testimonials such as this that appeal to emotion, that are clearly intended to tug on the heartstrings. If you can play on people's emotions, if you can get through to their hearts, you don't need reason, you don't need logic, you don't need facts, you don't need things to make sense. If you can just tap straight into people's feelings, then you can basically convince them of anything. And this Christopher character seems to have figured that out. He seems to be quite proud of the fact that he doesn't need to actually give people information. He doesn't actually need to educate people in Tanzania or wherever he is. He doesn't need to be an educator in any meaningful sense. He just needs to make people feel good. And isn't that what the Jehovah's Witness propaganda, the Jehovah's Witness message is all about? Giving people fanciful thoughts that will make them feel better about their futures. And he also goes on to talk about the control that the governing body has over members.
They implicitly followed the direction from the governing body. They viewed it as coming from Jehovah, and they followed it even if it came to them at a cost.
Even if it came at a cost. That's what following the governing body is all about. Being willing to do whatever you're told by the religious leadership, no matter the cost. Only with Jehovah's Witnesses, when we talk about cost, we're not just talking about some kind of inconvenience. We're not just talking about, the risk of, say, crossing a crocodile-infested river to get to a Kingdom Hall meeting or an assembly, which is the sort of experience you will commonly read about in Jehovah's Witness literature, specifically when we're talking about parts of Africa. It's not just inconvenience. As a Jehovah's Witness, you have to be willing to pay the ultimate price, especially when it comes to blood transfusions. You must be willing to value your faith, to value your obedience to the faithful slave over your very life, so that you will turn down a life-saving blood transfusion if it means staying faithful to your religious views. That's the cost. So thank you, Christopher, for including that in your interview. I don't know, he just fascinates me. I hope we see more of him. I have a feeling we will. I'd like to see more of that kind of wide-eyed, emotional rhetoric. And I think he has a future. I really do, in this organization. He is a prime candidate to rise up the Jehovah's Witness hierarchy.